Okay, off we go. All right, so this is how to fight like an old fighter, something that I am probably overqualified to teach. What I'm not going to get into is specific shots. What I'm looking for more is kind of a general overview and philosophy of the way you should approach things. So we're going to go back in time, 20 years. Graybeard tournament, field of Penzic. It's a hot day. All the fighters are old because you have to be over 50 in order to be in this tournament. Harold calls out, this bout is between Duke Callidus of the Bow and Duke Frederick of Holland, otherwise known as Fleeg. If any of you do not know these names, study SCA history because they are legends. But even back 20 years ago, they were freaking old. So, Callidus, who's about this high, comes in with his huge shield and his little sword, and he comes out and goes to the list. No Fleeg. Where's Fleeg? So everybody's looking around, calling for Fleeg. And eventually, they spot him over in the next list. He's fighting over in the Laurels tournament. So he finishes up his bout. They're yelling, and he finally comes over. And Fleeg, in his usual Fleeg style, grabs his battered old helmet, and he grabs his sword, which is basically a small tree trunk, and his shield, and he shambles on over, head down, goes over, apologizes, says, could you give me a minute? Okay. So they give him a minute. Callidus standing in the list, and Fleeg pants, gets a sip of water, puts on his own helmet, grabs his shield, takes his big mucking club of a sword. They call lay on, shambles over to Callidus. I like this. Callidus standing right there. Bam! Right between the eyes. Callidus looks stunned, goes down, falls to the ground. Fleeg salutes him and walks back over to the other list. Classic moment. So, this is a beautiful example of how to fight like an old guy. So let's break it down. What did Fleeg do? Well, it's a hot day at Penzic. So he's running on low energy because he's fighting another list. So he's going to take his time going back over here. When he gets over here and basically gets to the Graybeard list, he's asking for a few minutes, which is reasonable. Hot day, old guy, give me a minute. So what's he doing during these few minutes? He's catching his breath, yeah, but he's also thinking about his strategy. He's thinking, all right, I'm fighting Callidus. What do I know about Callidus? These guys have been around forever. They know each other. What he knows about Callidus is this. Callidus' style, being 5'0" and having a big mucking shield, is this. He is going to button up tight. It's called closed form heater. And what he's going to do is he's going to let you just wail away on him until you make a mistake, and he's going to hit you. The last thing in the world Fleeg wants to do is have a long, protracted fight with Callidus. So his strategy is to avoid this. So how does he do this? He walks in like he's tired. He has nothing left. Goes down like this. He knows Callidus, when he gets about here, is going to go into his guard. So, down like this, his guard's hanging down. One step in and shoot. Callidus already suckered into the fact that he's tired, going to move slow. He saves his energy for one shot. Bam, wins the fight, and that's it. Okay. This is basic conservation of energy. And that is what you really want to do. I don't care how young you are, you're going to run out of energy. So you want to conserve it for when you need it. If you ever watch a fight in Crown, the finals, or Best of the Best, if you ever get a chance to watch that at Penzic, watch those guys. They ain't moving. You don't see them go charging in like a 20-year-old throwing blows. They're going to stand there. They're going to reposition. They're going to watch. They're going to wait. They're looking for what the opponent's going to do, how they're going to move, how they're standing. Once they see your opening, it's going to be bam, bam, bam. Half a dozen blows most, fight's over. That's what you're looking to do. All right, so how do we conserve energy? First thing is we study your opponent. What's he using? What kind of weapons? How are they standing? If I have someone, I'm fighting sword and shield, and they're standing like this, what are they going to do? They're coming at you. They're coming at you full blast. So you anticipate it. You know that you're going to have to step out of the way. Okay. They're doing this, you're in trouble because that's an old fighter. They're not going to come at you. They're going to wait for you to make the move. So the key you really want to do in a tournament fight is to throw as few blows as you throw as many as you need and no more. Don't waste shots. So if I get someone who's going to charge on me, I'm going to duck out of the way, hit them as they go by. Okay. 1, 2, 3 shots, done. That's the way I want to work it. Now, when I'm entering the list, I don't want to waste a lot of energy doing nonsense. A lot of fighters, what will happen is they'll tense up. If I'm entering a list, I'll use sword and shield just for an example. Okay. I want to be relaxed. Okay. I don't want to, if I'm standing over here, I don't want to go into my guard immediately. I'm going to wait. The other thing is, there's a lot of nervous tension, especially if you're not used to fighting tournaments. So what's going to happen is all that nervous energy that's coming in your muscles is going to tighten everything up, and it's going to suck energy away from your body. You don't want that. So the first thing I'm going to do when I go in this fight is I'm going to enter, and about the time they're going to do salutes, I'm just going to relax. And the place I want to relax, especially, is my shoulders. Let that down like this. My head down like that. Okay, get myself nice and calm and relaxed. This way I'm not burning up energy before I go into that list. Okay, as soon as the fight starts, now I'm going to use my energy. So don't waste it there. The other thing is, I need a volunteer. Come on over. Okay. All right, so you're in guard. Okay. All right, so you're ready to fight. When should you be in guard?
Not quite yet.
Not now. No way. Here's my guard. He's not going to get anywhere near me. Take a step forward. No, not yet. Now, don't go into guard until you have to. Okay. The longer you can wait to go into guard safely, the better off you're going to be. Thank you. I don't want to hold a guard anyway. My guard, if I'm fighting sword and shield, or if I'm fighting two weapons, is basically this. It's going to be this, or it's going to be this. You see people doing this. Okay. Not only am I not expending energy, but where are you going to hit? What am I going to do? You have no clue. You have no clue what my defense is. You have no clue where I'm going to attack from. You have no idea whatsoever. If I'm like this, yeah, I know what's going to happen. If I'm like this, I know where my attack points are. If I'm like this, I know what my attack points are. All of those guards, I know what you're going to throw. I know where your weaknesses are. If you have no guard, you're showing nothing. Everything's open. Okay. I lost my place. Okay. All right. Now there are times when you actually want to pour on the energy. I mean, you're saving it for something. So when do you want to use it? You're going to use it when it's to your advantage to do it. So you're going to use it when it's time to actually throw a flurry. What I don't want to do is throw 10 flurries. I don't want to go in, fight, throw a bunch of shots, throw a bunch of shots, then throw a bunch of shots. I want to wait until I get my opening. This is basic counterpunching. The problem with a lot of counterpunchers is they'll go up, they'll see an opening, they'll throw one shot. Problem is if that shot isn't hard enough or if that shot misses, you've only got one shot in. What you really want to do if you're going to counterpunch is to be an active counterpuncher, which means if I get that one shot in, I'm going to throw 3 more. This is where I'm going to use my energy. Because what's going to happen is I've got an opening here. I'll throw that shot. When I'm throwing that shot, I'm going to create other openings as they're blocking. So this is when I want to throw a flurry. That's how you work with an active counterpunch. You might consider 2 weapons. I'm a big fan of 2 weapons. 2 weapons is a classic old person style because you don't have to expend very much energy at all. What you want to do is kill, and you want to kill fast. And 2 weapons really allows you to do that. Sword and shield is nice, but it's going to slow you down. It usually takes time to do it. Yeah, grab this piece of rattan here. How do you think? Any kind of weapon, that's fine. Okay. Nice thing about 2 weapon visuals, I can see everything. I have 2 attacks. I've got plenty of blocking power here. So you really want to consider going to a 2 weapon because I want to be able to kill fast. I don't want to horse around. I want 1 or 2 shots and that's it. Okay. Now this is a formula for fast tournaments. If I'm running a bear pit, if I'm working a round robin, something where I'm going to be doing a lot of fights and I'm really burning up energy. But what about a slow tournament? I'm fighting Crown. Crown's a different animal. I'm fighting Crown, I'm fighting a double limb. And it's a slow double limb. So what's going to happen is I'm going to fight about, and I'm going to wait, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes before everything cycles through and I'm fighting again. The problem there is, I want to conserve energy for that bout, but at the same time, I don't want to sit down. I don't want to sit down. I don't want to take it easy. I want to keep active. I don't want to burn a lot of energy, and I'm not running laps around the list. But at the same time, I want to keep my muscles warmed up, and I want to keep my focus. So I'm fighting something like Crown. I'm going to kind of wander around. I don't want to sit. I definitely do not want to sit if I can avoid it. That's when your muscles start tightening up. So I'm going to stand. I'm going to walk around a little bit, not do anything heavy. Maybe do a little bit of work like this just to kind of keep limbered up. This is when you want to expend energy in a judicious fashion. Okay. Bear pit formula. There's a basic bear pit formula if you're fighting Ice Dragon. Okay, little plug. I'm running Ice Dragon next week. Formula is going to be a bear pit. The way it's going to work is 2 points for a win, 1 point for a loss. 2 different sections. One's going to be for 2-headed weapons, one's going to be for single-headed weapons. It's like last time. You're going to have probably, I don't know, 60 fighters. Okay. Going to run probably 4 lists in the single weapon assortment, which is sword and shield and 2 weapon. Okay, so the formula for that, if you want to win that tournament, you want to fight every 2.5 to 3 minutes, because that's the way from the time your fight ends, do you go around the line? That's what you want to do. If you're fighting every 2.5 to 3 minutes, that's going to get you probably at least to the final 4. Win or lose, which means that you want to fight quickly. The last thing you want in a bear pit is a long, drawn-out fight. It takes energy, which you don't have a lot of because you're fighting a bear pit, You're fighting for 2 hours. You're conserving energy. So you want to kill fast. If you lose fast, you can still get a point. If you win fast, you keep going. So that's basically what you want to do with a bear pit. You got to keep going. Kill fast or lose fast. Get out. Now, okay. Okay. All right. A couple more things I want to go into, and that's basically about the way an older fighter is going to fight. Conservation of energy, throw what shots you have to, do your thinking up here. Think about what you're going to do, think about what your opponent's going to do, anticipation, think about your weapons forms, precision. When I'm moving, I don't want to take any more steps than I have to during the course of a fight. So let's say I'm fighting against a glaive. I'm fighting against Angus. Angus, grab your glaive. He's faster than me by a long shot. I don't want to chase him down. I'm going to chase him forever, so I don't want to do that. True. I want to get in on him. So how am I going to get on him? Well, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try to sucker him. So I'm going to button up tight because I'm worried about that thrust. At the same time, I want to get it on top of him. So what do? I want to keep myself out of range here, but see where my feet are? Okay. All right. Now I've got like a full step just by leaning back like this and keep my feet out. Okay, to get in top of him. Now the other thing is, Angus, I come in on you, where are you going to go?
What's that?
Where are you going to go if I'm coming in like this?
This?
Okay.
I might push him.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to roll.
Most likely you're going to roll.
Yeah.
The roll for a glaive, generally what they're going to do, especially if you're buttoned up tight, is you're going to roll over to this side because that's the best side for him to be. But you know he's going to roll that side. So as he's rolling that side, yeah, that's not a good place to be. Okay. That's anticipation. Assume that a glaive is going to roll to your shield side. Makes sense for him. Shield, he's using my shield to protect himself, and he's opening up shots.
Well, try to blind you.
Exactly. Try to get me to lift up, blind you, and then you've got everything in the world to hit me with. Right. So, again, think about your opponent, think about what you're doing, think about how your movement's going to be. And again, I don't want to chase him. All right. Any questions about those kind of basic stuff? All right. I'm going to go into a couple of very small things. The first thing is nutrition and hydration. Okay. So Daniel, in between a break, ate a sandwich. That's great if you can do it. I couldn't. Generally what happens for a lot of fighters are your digestive system kind of shuts down. Have you ever noticed that before? You're fighting a lot and all of a sudden, if you eat something that's like lead in your stomach and yours not moving. Yeah, that happens a lot. So don't eat before a big tournament. Give yourself at least an hour, a couple hours is better. And if you start running low on energy, which you might do during a protracted tournament, don't eat a sandwich. Sorry, Dan. What you want to eat then is something like watermelon. Some people do pickles because that gives you a little bit of salt, boosts up your electrolytes. Orange slices are good. If you ever fight, I'm not sure if Gulf Force does it. Does Gulf Force do the orange slices? Yeah, see? Yeah, okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's not a big thing. If you fight out west in Australia, that's standard. I mean, their water betters, here's your water, here's your Gatorade, here's your fruit. It's actually standard. And especially, well, it's actually a bigger thing probably out west because if you're fighting in some place like Gulf Wars, it's kind of humid, so you're not dealing with really arid temperatures. If you're fighting out in the desert, it will suck the electrolytes out of you in a second. So, and you'll never feel it because you're not working up a sweat like you would at Penzic or in Gulf Wars because all that stuff's evaporating. So all of a sudden you'll be going along fighting and you'll collapse. So when you're in that situation, orange slices, pickles, watermelon, all good. Okay. Hydration. Please, please. If you're going into a field battle at Penzic, don't grab a gallon of water and chug it down. Okay? You will completely mess up your electrolytes. Essentially, you're gonna make yourself sick. When you hydrate before something long and grueling like a woods battle, start in the morning, little sips of water. You might drink that half gallon or gallon of water, but you're going to do it over a prolonged period of time to get your body accustomed to it, so you're not throwing your electrolytes off. You flood yourself with water in a short period of time, you got big problems. Okay, stretching. I'm not going to even think about going into stretching like Cygnus was. This is the professional. If you want to talk about stretching, this is the guy to talk about stretching. But I'm going to give you just 2 simple rules that hopefully he agrees with. The first thing is don't cold stretch. Just out of curiosity, how many people stretch before a fight? Really? Okay. It's about half. Okay. What you don't want to do is get in the car, drive for 3 hours, get out, and start stretching. Your muscles aren't warmed up. You don't have the blood flow going, especially to your legs. You've been sitting for a long time. So before you actually start going into your stretches, walk around a little bit, do a little of this, grab your sword, do a little of this, not too fast, even a little slow work. You just want to get those muscles warmed up before you start stretching. If you don't do that, what's going to happen is you're going to start pulling muscles. Muscles are cold, all of a sudden you go in for a deep stretch, next thing you know, boom. Okay. Second thing is, don't bounce. Okay. So if I'm doing something like this, okay, I'm not going to hold it. You're going to take it, hold it. I usually like to do, 30 seconds? About right? I do about 30, yeah. You do 10? Really? 10 reps? Yeah, okay. Oh, 10 breaths? Yeah, that'd be about right, yeah. Okay. 10 breaths, yeah. All right. But again, nice, steady, hold it, don't bounce. Okay. The last thing isn't, I guess it's kind of an old fighter thing. So I'm watching your melees upstairs, and you did good. I mean, you're rusty, so you know it is what it is. But one thing I noticed is when you got into situations, especially when you started whittling down your numbers, you're throwing basic shots, which is kind of the way the melees work. So if I'm facing against everyone over there, I'm looking for my openings. I'm going to throw my thrust if I'm throwing a spear, or I'm just going to throw basic forehand if I'm throwing a sword and shield. Same thing with a glaive. I'm just looking for a target to shoot. Think about this. You're throwing your spear, okay, and you're throwing over here. Fake, little pump fake. Over here, bam. Nobody expects a fake in a melee. Nobody. If you really want to rack up your kill ratio, just throw a very simple fake. It will never work in single combat, but in a melee, you will kill people because they will never expect it. All right. Any questions? Nope. Okay. Thank you everyone for coming.